Atwood. As you may know, One New Boss is featuring Margaret Atwood's Hacked Seed, which is an imaginary retelling of Shakespeare's The Tempest. Imaginary is an operative word for this afternoon's offerings, as they defy easy categorization. Among the miniatures gathered here are a reconfigured fairy tale, insights into women's novels, a home economist's method of making a man, an unexpected reaction at a music hall, and Gertrude offering Hamlet a piece of her mind. So let's begin.
There was once a poor girl, as beautiful as she was good, who lived with her wicked stepmother in a house in the forest.
Forest? Forest is passé. I mean, I've had it with all this wilderness stuff. It's not a right image of our society today. Let's have some urban for a change.
There was once a poor girl, as beautiful as she was good, who lived with her wicked stepmother in a house in the suburbs.
That's better. But I have to seriously query the word poor.
But she was poor.
Poor is relative. She lived in a house, didn't she?
Yes,
Then socioeconomically speaking, she was not poor.
but none of the money was hers. The whole point of the story is that the wicked stepmother makes her wear old clothes and sleep in the fireplace.
Aha! They had a fireplace. With poor, let me tell you, there's no fireplace. Come down to the park, come to the subway stations after dark, come down to where they sleep in cardboard boxes, and I'll show you poor.
There was once a middle-class girl, as beautiful as she was good.
Stop right there. I think we can cut the beautiful, don't you? Women these days have to deal with too many intimidating physical role models. So it is what with those bimbos in the ads. Can't you make her, well, more average?
There was once a girl who was a little overweight and whose front teeth stuck out.
I don't think it's nice to make fun of people's appearances. Plus, you're encouraging anorexia.
I wasn't making fun, I was just describing.
Skip the description. Description oppresses. But you can say what color she was.
What color?
You know, black, white, red, brown, yellow. Those are the choices. And I'm telling you right now, I've had enough of white. Dominant culture this, dominant culture that.
I don't know what color.
Well, it would probably be your color, wouldn't it?
But this isn't about me, it's about the girl.
Everything is about you.
It sounds to me like you don't want to hear this story at all.
Oh, well, go on. You could make her ethnic. That might help.
There was once a girl of indeterminate descent, as average looking as she was good, who lived with her wicked.
Another thing. Good and wicked. Don't you think you should transcend those puritanical, judgmental, moralistic epithets? I mean, so much of that is conditioning, isn't it?
There was once a girl, as average looking as she was well adjusted, who lived with her stepmother, who was not a very open and loving person because she herself had been abused in childhood.
Better. But I'm so tired of negative female images and stepmothers. They always get it in the neck. Change it to stepfather, why don't you? That would make more sense anyway, considering the bad behavior you're about to describe. And throw in some whips and chains. We all know what those twisted, repressed, middle-aged men are.
Hey, wait a minute. I'm middle-aged.
Stuff it, Mr. Nosy Parker. Nobody asked you to stick in your oar, or whatever you want to call that thing. This is between the two of us. Go on.
There was once a girl.
How old was she?
I don't know. She was young.
This ends with a marriage, right?
Well, Not to blow the plot, but yes.
Then you can scratch the condescending paternalistic terminology. It's woman, pal, woman.
There was once,
What's this was once? Enough of the dead past. Tell me about now.
there,
So
what?
why not here?
Women's novels.
Men's novels are about men. Women's novels are about men too, but from a different point of view. You can have a men's novel with no women in it, except possibly the landlady or the horse. But you can't have a women's novel with no men in it. Sometimes men put women in men's novels, but they leave out some of the parts. The head, for instance, or the hands. Women's novels leave out parts of the men as well. Sometimes it's the stretch between the belly button and the knees. Sometimes it's the sense of humor. It's hard to have a sense of humor in a cloak, in a high wind, on a moor. Women do not usually write novels of the type favored by men, but men are known to write novels of the type favored by women. Some people find this odd.
I like to read novels in which the heroine has a costume rustling discreetly over her breasts, or discreet breasts, resting under her costume. In my case, there must be a costume, some breasts, some rustling, and above all, discretion. Discretion overall, like a fog, a miasma, through which the outlines of things appear only vaguely. A glimpse of pink through the gloom. The sound of breathing. That slithering to the floor. Never mind what? Never mind, I say. Never mind.
Men favor heroes who are tough and hard. Tough, not soft. Sometimes the hero goes soft on a woman, but this is always a mistake. Women do not favor heroines who are tough and hard. Instead, they have to be tough and soft. This leads to linguistic difficulties. Last time we looked, monosyllables were male, still dominant but sinking fast, wrapped in the octopoid arms of labial polysyllables, whispering to them with arachnoid grace. Darling, darling.
Men's novels are about how to get power, killing, and so on, or winning, and so on. So are women's novels, though the method is different. In men's novels, getting a woman or women goes a long way with getting the power. It's a perk, not a means. In women's novels, you get the power by getting the man. He has to love you. Sex just won't do it. What do you think all that kneeling about? Down among the crinolines on the Persian carpet, or at least say it. When all else is lacking, verbalization can be enough. Love. There, you can stand up now. It didn't kill you, did it?
I no longer want
to read about anything sad, anything violent, anything disturbing, anything like that. No funerals at the end, so there could be some in the middle. If there must be deaths, let there be resurrections. At least a heaven, so we know where we are. Depression and squalor are for those under 25. They can take it. They may even like it. They still have enough time left. But real life is bad for you. Hold it in your hand long enough, and you'll get pimples. Or feeble-minded, you'll go blind. I want happiness, guaranteed, joy all round, covers with nurses on them, or brides, intelligent girls, but not too intelligent, with regular teeth and pluck, both breasts the same size, and no excess facial hair. Someone you can depend on to know where the bandages are, and to turn the hero, that rake and villain, into a well-groomed country gentleman with clean fingernails and the right vocabulary. Always, he has to say, forever. I no longer want to read books that don't end with the word forever. I want to be stroked between the eyes, one way only.
Some people think a woman's novel is anything without politics in it. Something it's about relationships. Something it's anything with a lot of operations in it. Medical ones, I mean. Something it's anything that doesn't give you a broad, panoramic view of our exciting times. Me, well, I just want something you can leave on the coffee table and not be too worried if kids get into it. You think that's not a real consideration? You're wrong.
She had the startled eyes of a wild bird. This is the kind of sentence I go mad for. I would like to be able to write such sentences without embarrassment. I would like to be able to read them without embarrassment. If I could only do these two simple things, I feel, I would be able to pass my allotted time on this earth like a pearl wrapped in velvet. She had the startled eyes of a wild bird. Ah, but which one? A screech owl, perhaps? Or a cuckoo? It does make a difference. We do not need more literalists of the imagination. They cannot read a body like a gazelle's without thinking of intestinal parasites, zoos, smells. She had a feral glaze like that of an untamed animal, I read. Reluctantly, I put the book down, thumb still inserted in the exciting moment. He's about to crush her in his arms, pressing his hot, devouring, hard, demanding mouth to hers as her breasts squish out of the top of her dress. But I can't concentrate. Metaphor leads me by the nose into the maze, and suddenly all Eden lies before me. Porcupines, weasels, warthogs and skunks, their feral gazes malicious, or bland, or stolid, or picky and sly. Agony to see the romantic frisson quivering just out of reach. A dark-winged butterfly stuck to an overripe peach, and not to be able to swallow or wallow. Which one, I murmur to the unresponding air, which one?
spring bikinis and leftovers réchauffés to give our readers some tips on how to create in their very own kitchen or rumpus room an item that is both practical and decorative. It's nice to have one of these around the house, either out on the lawn, looking busy, or propped in a chair, prone or erect. Choose the covering to match the drapes. When worn out, they can be recovered and used as doorstops.
Traditional method. Take some dust of the ground. Form. Breathe into the nostrils the breath of life. Simple, but effective. Please note that although men are made of dust, women are made of ribs. Remember that at your next Texas-style barbecue. Should you give your man a belly button or not? Authorities on the traditional method disagree. We, ourselves, like to include one, as we think it adds a finishing touch. Use your thumb.
Okay, Joe, number 3.
The clothes method. Clothes make the man. How often have you heard this said? Well, we couldn't agree more. However, clothes may make the man, but by and large, women make the clothes. So it follows that the responsibility for the finished model lies with the home seamstress. Use a good pattern and cut out on the lines. Otherwise, your man will be all screw-jiggy. Pre-shrink fabric, or your man will turn out to be smaller than you'd like. Sew the darts first, and remember to give that tummy a good tuck, or you'll be sorry later. Watch those zippers. A badly placed zipper can have serious functional problems. It's fun to be different, but not too different. Casual or formal is up to you. If in doubt, make 2 and alternate. Be sure your house has a lot of mirrors, because men made this way, like budgies, seem to adore them. One very creative woman we know sewed her entire man out of rubber sheeting. Then she used a bicycle pump. Amazing.
Number 4 is the marzipan method. We've often thought men would be easier to control if they were smaller. Well, here's a tiny rascal you can hold in the palm of your hand, usually found on wedding cakes. These formally dressed mini grooms require painstaking detail. To take in attention to detail, but it's worth the time you spend with the paintbrush and the food coloring to see the finished result smiling at you with deceptive blandness from the frothy topmost layer of 7-minute boiled icing. We much regret the modern custom of substituting plastic for the original sugary confection. For one thing, there is absolutely no payoff when you feel the urge, as we do, to pop one of these dapper devils into your mouth and suck off his clothes.
Folk art method. You've seen these cuties in other folks' yards, with little windmills attached to their heads. They hammer with their little hammers, and with their little saw with their little saws, or just whirl their arms around a lot when there's a stiff breeze. Alternatively, they may just stand stock still, holding onto bridles, lanterns, or fish poles. Some of them may be in gnomes' costumes. Why shouldn't you concoct one of these cunning fellows for your very own? No reason at all. Just coat your hubby with plaster of Paris and
Victory Burlesque.
I went to the Victory Burlesque twice. Or maybe it was only once, and one of my friends went the other time and told me about it. I enjoyed it both times. It was considered quite daring for a young woman to go to such a place, and we thought it was funny. It was almost as funny as church. You got a stand-up comic, a movie, and a man who sang or juggled plates as well as the striptease act. Each girl had a fake name. Mistake, Misbehave, Flame LaRue. I liked the names and the costumes for the ingenuity, and I liked the more skillful girls, the ones who could twist tassels or make their bellies or buttocks rotate in a circle. That was before they had to take it all off. There was an art to it, and it was almost like plate juggling. I liked the way they floated in the pools of colored light, moving as if they were swimming mermaids behind glass. One woman began with her back to the audience, the spotlight on her. She was wearing long white gloves and a black evening gown with great black sleeves that looked like membranous wings as she stretched out her arms. She did a lot with her arms and back, but when she finally turned around, she was old. Her face was powdered dead white, her mouth was a bright reddish purple, but she was old. I could feel shame washing through me. It was no longer funny. I didn't want this woman to take off her clothes. I didn't want to look. I felt that I was the woman on the stage being exposed and humiliated. Surely they would cheer and yell things at her. Surely they would feel that they had been tricked. The woman unzipped her black evening gown, slipping it down, and began to move her hips. She smiled with her white mask of her face and her purple mouth, made her lips, her teeth glinted dull white with pebbles. It was a mockery. She didn't intend it, she knew it. It was a trick of another kind, but we didn't know who was playing it. The trick was that suddenly there was no trick. The body up there was actual. It was aging. It was not floating in the spotlight somewhere apart from us. Like us, it was caught in time. The Victory Burlesque went dead. Nobody made a sound.
calling you Hamlet? I mean, what kind of name is that for a young boy? It was your father's idea. Nothing would do but that you had to be called after him. Selfish. The other kids at school used to tease the life out of you. The nicknames. And those terrible jokes about pork. I wanted to call you George. I'm not wringing my hands, I'm drying my nails. Oh, darling, please stop fidgeting with my mirror. That'll be the third one you've broken. Yes, I've seen those pictures. Thank you very much. I know your father was handsomer than Claudius. Highbrow, aquiline nose, and so on. Looked great in uniform. But handsome isn't everything, especially in a man. And far be it from me to speak ill of the dead, but I think it's about time I pointed out to you that your dad just wasn't a whole lot of fun. Noble, sure, I grant you. But Claudius, well, he likes a drink now and then. He appreciates a decent meal. He enjoys a laugh. Know what I mean? You don't always have to be tiptoeing around because of some holier-than-thou principle or something. Oh, by the way, darling, I wish you wouldn't call your stepdad the bloat king. He does have a slight weight problem, and it hurts his feelings. The rank sweat of what? My bed is certainly not enseamed, whatever that might be. A nasty sty, indeed. Not that it's any of your business, but I change those sheets twice a week, which is more than you do, judging from that student slum pig pen in Wittenberg. I'll certainly never visit you there again without prior warning. I see that laundry of yours when you bring it home, and not often enough either by a long shot. Only when you run out of black socks. And let me tell you, everyone sweats at a time like that, as you'd find out very soon if you ever gave it a try. A real girlfriend would do you a heap of good. Not like that pasty-faced, what's her name, all trussed up like a prize turkey in those touch-me-not corsets of hers. If you ask me, there's something off about that girl. Borderline. Any little shock could push her right over the edge. Go get yourself someone more down to earth. Have a nice roll in the hay. Then you can talk to me about nasty styes. Oh, no, darling, I'm not mad at you. But I must say, you're an awful prig sometimes, just like your dad. The flesh, he'd say. You'd think it was dog dirt. You'd excuse that in a young person. They're always so intolerant. But in someone his age, it was getting, well, very hard to live with. And that's the understatement of the year. Some days, I think it would have been better for both of us if you hadn't been an only child. But you realize who you have to thank for that. You have no idea what I used to put up with. And every time I felt like a little, oh, you know, just to warm up my aging bones, it was like I suggested murder. Oh. You think that Claudius murdered your dad? Well, no wonder you've been so rude to him at the dinner table. If I'd known that, I could have put you straight in no time flat. It wasn't Claudius, darling. It was me.
Thank you very for taking time to join us this afternoon. We hope you enjoyed Margaret Atwood as much as we did. We'll be back in the spring with a third caravelle and a collection of humorous short pieces and cartoons, nearly all of which appeared in the New Yorker. Once again, thank you.